Imagine if you went from feeling fine every day to feeling amazing. How would your life be different? Everyone has the ability to feel amazing again and again. You just need the right tools to get there. If you're ready to feel amazing, stick around. Now, here's the host of the I'm Not Fine show with functional nutrition coach Lizzie Ens.
Welcome, everyone. We're back again on the I'm Not Fine show. And today we're going to have some fun again. This show is becoming so fun for me because we can literally talk about anything and everything on here. And because I'm not fine is such a broad statement. And that was the purpose of me doing this podcast and the show, being on TV and all of those things. But I really wanted to dive into talking to people's hearts and their minds and their souls, because so many times we say that we're fine, but we're not fine. That's one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is that we, in the health community, when it comes to doctors and all of that, we so many times get told based on lab results that our body is fine and that we should be fine, but we're not feeling fine. And so that was the inspiration behind the I'm Not Fine show, because we really want to dive into the fact that so many times we are not fine when we say that we are fine. A few years ago, I actually realized that there are a lot of times that I say that I'm fine when I'm not fine, because people ask me like, hey, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm fine, I'm good. But I'm fine actually means that you're not good. It just means that you are not okay, or it means that maybe you just don't want to talk about it. And whoever asked you the question of how you are, and if you're like, I'm fine, it typically means you're not fine and you don't want to talk about it. Or maybe you just don't want to spill your beans to that person. But either way, we have to get to a place where we feel okay saying like, listen, I'm not okay, but you can choose whether or not you want to talk about it or not. So just a little reintroductory there of like why we're doing this show in the first place. And today we are going to be talking about how to deal with the summer events. So before we do that, just a quick reminder if you want to grab a copy of my book, you can go to lizzieens.com. Also, the Kindle version of this book is on Amazon now. So you can literally go on Amazon, grab the Kindle version of the book for like $4 and have it downloaded to your device right away. And then in the next month or so, we are going to have the Audible version available as well. So remember, you can go grab a copy of that. And then also, before I move on, is if you are in a place where you feel like you are stuck with your health and you just don't know how to move forward. I talk to so many people all the time where they're literally stuck. Like I'm having a conversation with a girl today that is in her early postpartum phase, and she thought she could figure it out because she knows how to exercise. She knows how to fuel and nourish her body in general for general health. But now she's in this postpartum phase and she cannot lose the weight that she needs to lose. And she's really, really frustrated, feels trapped, and she's desperate. And she's like, I need to talk to you, Lizzie. If this is you and you feel like you are in that place where you're like, I just need someone there for a period of time to help me get to the next stage. Listen, getting a coach, there is nothing wrong with that. It does not make you weak. In fact, it makes you stronger because you're recognizing the fact that you can't do it on your own. I have coaches. I have mentors. I bring those people into my life because I want to be able to grow and go to a new level. And I hire people to help me get there because they understand how to help me get there. It also can be really uncomfortable. Like my mentor makes me do things. Sometimes I'm like, I literally don't want to do that. And I need you to get out of my head. And he just laughs because he's like, no, that's why I'm here. And I'm like, I don't want you in my head right now. So leave. So with that being said, you can book a free consultation with me. There's a link in the show notes that you can grab my calendar. You can book a call with me. We'll see what's going on with you and what we can do for you. You can also email me at lizzie@undietyourself.live. So, all right, we're going to move on into the show. So have you ever felt like, okay, the beginning of the summer or spring or whenever it is, where you felt like, okay, this is my time. Like, I'm going to get started on my health journey now. This is, you're hitting the gas pedal and you're going to go for it, right? And then events happen and you're like, wait a minute. Summer is here. Summer is for fun. Summer is for pool parties. Summer is for time with the kids, barbecues, margaritas, martinis, beer, whatever it is. All the fun things, right? And dessert, maybe you make strawberry season on the East Coast right now. Maybe you make strawberry shortcake. I was just talking to my sister this morning. We were talking about strawberries. And I was like, oh, I want to go home and go to the farm that I grew up in and get strawberries. We used to have 300, 400, 500 strawberry plants, and we would pick quarts and quarts and quarts of strawberries every single year, and we would sell them, and then we would also preserve them and can them. We would make jams and jellies and strawberry pie and strawberry pudding, all the fun things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just want some strawberries. Now I just eat strawberries fresh. I hardly ever preserve them. That being said, these are all things that are going to come up, right? So I had a conversation with someone the other day that is really in this desperate place of, I need to make changes in my health. I'm miserable. Like she's miserable and she's not getting help from her doctors. And it's like, it's time to go to the next step. So when I asked her, I said, hey, when do you want to start? What's a good time for you? Do you have a time in mind? And she's like, I'm going on vacation in 3 weeks. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just wait until after vacation. Well, here is what happens when we wait for the perfect time. Now, I'm not saying that there's not certain times in our lives where it makes sense to hold off a little bit. But when it comes to your health doesn't wait for you. You're always going to have events come up. You're always going to have vacation. You're always going to be, most of us make ourselves busier than what we need to be. There's always going to be that, especially if you have kids. So I encouraged her and I said, listen, you can wait 3 more weeks if you want to, but I sense that right now you are ready to go and you're desperate and you're needing to feel better. Why not start now? And we can do a lot in 3 weeks before you go on vacation. And we can get you feeling better so that you can enjoy your vacation better. And then when that vacation comes, then I can teach you, which is one of my favorite things to do. I can teach you how you can go on vacation and you can have fun. You can enjoy yourself. There's some fun foods you can do. And then you can also learn how to go on vacation, have a good time, eat healthy, make sure you're still fueling and nourishing your body in a way that makes you feel good. And at the end of that, you come back and you're like, man, I don't have to start from scratch. I don't have to feel like I put myself back, weeks or months just because I went on vacation and let everything go. So she's like, no, you're right. So one of my favorite things to do is to teach people how to go through holidays, how to go through on vacation and be successful. And listen, there is nothing more powerful than you feeling in control of your health and being able to go to events and on a vacation and go, wow, I'm able to, I know how to fuel my body in a way that makes me feel good even on vacation. Here's the thing. Food is amazing. We love food. We love going to new places and trying new things. That's what it should be. But at the end of the day, how do we create some balance around it so that you don't go on vacation or go through the summer with all the events and everything? You don't go through all of that and you just get sicker and sicker and are uncomfortable and you cause more inflammation. How about we learn how to fuel and nourish our body with yummy, good foods, create some balance there where it's not such a high inflammatory reaction, and you are able to enjoy your events a lot better. It's not that you can't ever have anything. Like if you want to go have the ice cream, if you want to have the cookie, if you want to have the margarita, it's not a matter of never having it. It's a matter of the dose. The dose is what makes the difference. And we're going to get into how to manage that and how to set yourself up for success there. But I really want to encourage you to rethink about how you go into the summer, how you go, because here's the thing, we have summer. Let's lay this out for an entire year. If we're looking for a perfect time to start and a perfect time to take care of our health, I just want to remind you that your body is the most important real estate that you own. It's the most important real estate you own. So why not take care of it? Why not give it what it needs so that it can function at its best? Because guess what? If you don't have your health, what do you have? You can go and make all the money in the world. You can have all these amazing careers, all this money in the bank, whatever it is. And I'm not saying let's not go make a bunch of money. Listen, I know how to make money and I want to make a lot of money, but not at the expense of my health. So I'm going to take care of both of them, right? So I know a lot of people that are incredibly successful with finances and their money and how they're making money and their careers and all of that. But it comes at the expense of their health. And the reality is you're eating anyway, right? You're eating and drinking anyway. Why not learn how to amplify it and how to make it better so that you can actually feel better? Because if you're not taking care of your health, even you're like stressed because you're starting a business or stressed because you're running a business, maybe you're at a high level job, whatever it is, stress causes inflammation. Maybe you're not sleeping well and you're not going to be thriving. You're going to be surviving in that fight or flight. And when you're in that fight or flight, you're not going to be sleeping very well. You're going to be tired. Well, guess what happens? When you're tired, you're going to crave different things. And your mind and your brain are actually not going to function at the level that it could if you were fueling and nourishing it in a way that optimized the body, optimized your health, where you can sleep better, where you have more energy and you don't have the brain fog, all of those things. And you don't have the inflammation going on, that elevated inflammation going on in your body. So if you really, really think about it, if you don't have your health, what do you have? Because how you take care of your health, your body, your wellness, how you take care of that, and if that's in a really good place, everything else around you gets better because you're a better person. You feel better. I'm sure you treat people better. So how we take care of our health is how and treat people, and is how we like start treating everything around us. You become a lot more successful once you put that time and effort into taking care of your health. Now, here's the thing. We're about to go into break, but I will tell you this. I also know people, like it's a balance. I know people that are all into health and fitness, but that's the only thing that they know how to do. So you also can't be in a place where it's like, it's all about how you look and you just want to have a six pack and you want to have a certain percentage body fat and the gym is your only life. Like that's not healthy either. So although like I know people that they have the body of a god, but it does not make them a good person. it doesn't make them smart. It doesn't mean that they're successful over here just because they have the body. You got to have some balance there. And you got to figure out like where's your worth at too. But we're talking about taking care of your health overall in that aspect and how that's going to benefit everything else in your life when you take that seriously. So we're going to go to our first break here, but when we come back, we're going to continue to dive into this topic of how are you really going to navigate through these events. And I'm going to lay out like what the year looks like and why it's never a good idea to wait for a perfect time. So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back on the I'm Not Fine show on the Inspired Choices Network.
We often get used to just feeling fine instead of reaching to feel excellent or even good. Wellness is about feeling good, and that is a journey of continually coming back to what is nourishing and healing for us. Your body is functional and ever-changing, like a pendulum swinging. We must learn how to move with our bodies. Tuning into I'm Not Fine with functional nutrition coach Lizzie Ens will provide you with simple but effective tools that you can use right away, so you can go from feeling just fine to feeling amazing. Listen for I'm Not Fine on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email become a host at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is I'm Not Fine with Lizzie Ens. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also send an email to Lizzie at undietyourself.live. Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone, on the I'm Not Fine show on this happy Friday on the Inspired Choices Network. Real quick, before I move forward, if you are listening here live, chat questions in the chat box. If you have any specific things that you want me to cover, go ahead and put that in there. Second, if you have not downloaded the Inspired Choices Network app yet, you can go to Google Play, you can go to your app store and put in Inspired Choices Network, download the app, and then you have access to all of my shows on there, plus other shows as well from all the hosts on here. Listen to either the Audible or the TV. You can listen to this on some of your other favorite podcast episodes or platforms as well. But this app is pretty amazing. When you listen to them, I want you to give a review. I want you to give a review and 5 stars, please. If you feel like giving 5 stars. I'm not shy to ask for 5 stars, but I want you to give a review because that helps boost the show. It helps to get that show, the algorithm boosted so that more people are able to find the show and listen into what we have to say. So we're going to move on to today's show of how to navigate through the summer. And this kind of like bundles in the holidays as well. So I'm going to lay out like sort of what a year looks like so you can see what I'm talking about. We're in June, so summer month, depending on where you are at. So I'm in Arizona. Summer here is a little bit different than it is in the Midwest or on the East Coast. So in the East Coast or Midwest, it's the best time of the year because people are gardening, they're having fresh fruits and vegetables, they're doing all kinds of camping, they're having fires at night, they're probably doing s'mores, they're doing barbecues. all the fun things, pool parties, because the kids are not in school, right? And so when you look at that, you go, okay, this is a lot of fun. Maybe this isn't the best time for me to start my health journey. I'm going to show you how you can make that differently. Fall comes and kids go back to school. And sometimes that's when people are like, okay, now's the time for me to get started. And that's okay too. If you feel like that's a better time for you to get started. It doesn't mean it's like the perfect time, but if you feel like you have more time to dedicate and focus, that's fine. But then we start the holidays in October. So then Halloween happens, and then Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and then New Year's. And now you have 3 months in there where you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through these months working on my health and changing things and creating new habits? Because I have all these fun things coming up, and you got parties, right? And then January hits and you're like, all right, January, we're ready to go. We're going to do this. New Year's resolution. Well, New Year's resolutions rarely ever stick for most people. Let's be clear. So usually by like towards the end of January, people are like, oh, it's not working. It's too hard. They started out too strong where they're like all or nothing. And then we have Valentine's. So in February, we have another holiday. And it sort of like just continues on. We go into spring and then we hit summer again. So if you really think about it on the grand scheme of things, is there ever really a perfect time? Because you got travel, you got vacation if you go on vacation, you have birthday parties, you have weddings, you have summer, spring, fall, all the things. So what I want you to really think about here is you do have to be ready. So there is such a thing as preparing yourself, because it is a change. So there's such a thing as preparing yourself and saying, okay, I do need to mentally put myself in a place of like, I'm in. I actually talked about this the other day. I was talking about this on Instagram and it got really good feedback on waiting for the shoe to drop when you start something. So it's not uncommon when you start a new program, whether that is something on your own or working with a coach, whatever the case may be, is waiting for the shoe to drop. What I mean by that is in the beginning, you are all in, right? Or you should be. For some people, they're all in right away. And for other people, they're in, but there's a sense of hesitancy, whether or not they give everything. So think about it. It'd be kind of like, I'm speaking to the choir right now. It'd be kind of like when you meet someone new and you don't really know this person, and you're like, I like this person. I want to talk to this person. I want to, spend time with this person. But you go in with hesitancy because you're like, I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt. It could be any kind of relationship. It could be a girlfriend you meet. It could be a guy that you meet. It could be whatever it is. But you protect yourself in a sense where you put some walls up and there's some hesitancy there. So you're anticipating that maybe you'll get hurt. So you hold yourself back and you're not fully in. Now, I'm not saying that everybody deserves to have all of you, right? Like I'm not saying that. But if we go into something like that with our walls up and we have hesitancy of like how much we actually want to open up to this person, then the chances are it's not going to go well anyway, because we're not willing to allow ourselves to be vulnerable and passionate about that relationship. The same idea and the same thing is when you start a new journey of, hey, I know I got to create new healthy habits. I want to heal my body. I want to feel better. I want more energy. I want to sleep better. I want to lose weight and be able to keep it off. We can go into something and go, I'm going to give it some of me, but I'm not going to give it all of me, because I don't trust that it's actually going to work. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about let's not wait for the shoe to drop. Because if you are sitting around, if you're sort of like doing it and you're waiting around for the shoe to drop, that means you're not fully committed and you're like, I'm gonna I'm gonna try this, but if it fails me, I'm gonna say, well, I did it again. So the only way that it fails is if you give up on yourself. And by giving up on yourself could mean that there's events that are going on in your life. You could have summer and you could say, I'm too busy. I don't have time to take care of myself. Goes back to what I talked about before. Your body is the most important real estate that you own. That's yours. And it's your job to take care of it. So if we're allowing all of these things to come in and say, well, I actually don't have time to take care of myself. Well, if you don't have time to take care of myself, it also can mean that you don't value what has been given to you. So you live in your body, right? Part of that is also when we are going to events or we have parties and we have all of these things going on, we can have this like peer pressure from other people to participate in whatever it is that they're doing. So if they're participating in drinking or eating lots of dessert, and whatever the case may be, there's a lot of peer pressure that can happen in these places where we feel like we want to be a part of it. We want to say, hey, if they're drinking, I'm drinking. If they're eating dessert, I'm eating dessert. Whatever it is. And I'm not saying don't have any of those things, but not at the expense of your health and not at the expense of like making other people happy. So if I'm going to an event, if I'm going to a party, whatever it is, I get to choose and I get to decide what I'm going to allow myself to put into my body. So if I'm like, listen, I don't want to have the bread, I don't want to have the dessert, then I just say no, and it's not a big deal. I don't worry about what other people think because guess what? I'm the one that lives in my body. I'm the one that gets to decide how I want to feel. So if I'm not feeling well and I'm like, I don't care, I just want to be part of the party, I just want to do what everybody else is doing because I don't want to feel left out or I don't want to feel like I'm looked at weird, like any of those things, now it's at the expense of my health and how I want to feel the next day. You may not feel it right at the moment, but at the time. So one of the things that you want to think about is like when you are in control of saying yes or no of what you decide to put into your body when you're going to these events, it is one of the most powerful things that you can feel. I had this conversation with a client the other week where we were talking about vacation and we were talking about events, parties, all of those things. And she was able to go, because of what I taught her, how to fuel and nourish her body in a way that makes her feel good and what to focus on when she's going to these events. She was able to walk away from it, not gain any weight, and not have the inflammatory issues that she normally does. And she told me at the end of it, she's like, Lizzie, it felt so incredibly powerful within herself to be able to say, all right, today I'm going to choose to have my salmon with vegetables and rice, and I don't need anything else. And then tomorrow, if she wanted to go have a burger with some fries, I said, listen, you can do that if you want. It's not about not ever having it. It's about you getting to choose and decide how much of it, because it's the dose that makes the difference. So for an example, like I could go out to eat and I could say, and I don't normally eat gluten. I could say, okay, tonight I'm going to have a burger and I'm going to eat the gluten bread. The next day I could feel like I had a hangover, even though I didn't drink, because of what the gluten does to me. I get to decide, I get to choose whether or not I'm going to do that. So you have to make that decision. How do you do that? How do you make yourself feel empowered in a way where you say yes or no, because you know what's good for you and you know what you want to focus on. So we are going to go to our second break. And when we come back, I'm going to dive in a little bit deeper of like how you can actually set yourself up for these events, what you can focus on, how you want to plate your plate, and making sure that you're making those choices and how that makes you even more powerful. Because when you walk away from that and you still feel good, but you had a good time, why wouldn't you want to do that? So don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. I'm Lizzie Ens on the I'm Not Fine show on the Inspired Choices Network. We'll be right back.
We often get used to just feeling fine instead of reaching to feel excellent or even good. Wellness is about feeling good, and that is a journey of continually coming back to what is nourishing and healing for us. Your body is functional and ever-changing, like a pendulum swinging. We must learn how to move with our bodies. Tuning into I'm Not Fine with functional nutrition coach Lizzie Ens will provide you with simple but effective tools that you can use right away, so you can go from feeling just fine to feeling amazing. Listen for I'm Not Fine on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
This is I'm Not Fine with Lizzie Ens. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Lizzie at undietyourself.live. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. We are back live in the show on the I'm Not Fine show. I am your host, Lizzie Ens, on the Inspired Choices Network. And today we are talking about how to deal with summer events. And this really becomes a broad term as far as this really applies to so much for the entire year. So whatever I'm sharing with you today on how you can go through the summer, making sure that you're still successful in whatever it is that you're trying to do with your health and your body for healing purposes. And maybe it is primarily for you to have more energy, have better sleep, no more bloating or minimal bloating, and lose weight, all of those things. I want you to know that you don't have to wait. And summer, in my opinion, is actually one of the best places, one of the best times to do it. And here's why. If you are in a place where you have access to homegrown fresh fruits and vegetables, even though you have all these things going on, but you have access to all of those, and it's fresher and it's coming straight from the garden and not from the grocery store. This is the time to do it. This is the time that you want to put that in. And here's, I was talking to a lady the other day, and we were talking about meal planning and how to prepare her meals and make them healthy and balanced and nourishing for her and her entire family. And she was telling me how she has all these fresh vegetables around, lettuce, radishes, carrots, like all of these fresh things. And she's like, I need to figure out how to incorporate those into our meals because it's so healthy. And I'm like, that's it. When you have those things available, now you want to figure out, okay, what do I bring in to help complement that, to utilize those things? So in the summer, because it's hot, especially here in Phoenix, Arizona, when it's like 110 degrees, your appetite kind of goes down and you're like, I don't really want to eat anything heavy. So you're not going to be making soups. That's definitely not going to happen because soups are too hot. So you imagine yourself eating a bowl of soup in the summer and you're like, wow, I'm like sweating as I'm eating the soup. You're just not going to do that. So our body actually goes through the seasons as well. So in the summer, you always crave lighter foods, things that are cooling. And then in the fall, as it gets cooler out, that's when we actually start craving the heartier foods. We start craving the soups and the stews and all of that stuff. And we need heartier things in the winter because it's cold and our body's trying to stay warm. So let's talk about what you can do as you're planning to go to these events, whether it's a party or a wedding or vacation, whatever the case may be. This applies to all of them. Here's what this is exactly what I tell my clients, and I'm giving it to you guys. What you want to think about is the portions. That's one. What are your portions? It's not always, like I said earlier, it's not always about I have to cut certain things out or never ever have it. So like never having a burger, never having a cookie. It's not about that. It's the dose that makes the difference. So how I teach my clients on how they want to go into this is focusing on the things, one, that I already taught them, which is how to balance their meals in a way that makes them feel good. And that's typically focusing on their water and their protein and their vegetables and fruits. Like those are like, that's like the bulk of like things that we want to work on. And then we fill in the rest with, the complex carbs and the healthy fats. But when it comes to, let's just say, for example, let's say you're going to a birthday party tonight. And you know that they're probably going to have, let's say it's a kid's birthday party. They're probably going to have either hot dogs or pizza. Let's just say that for an example. Maybe they have some mac and cheese. They probably have some juice, maybe some Capri Suns. I've never had one of those, by the way. So I don't even really know what they taste like. And my kid has never had one and he probably never will. So let's just say that's what they have. And then in the end, they have birthday cake or birthday cupcakes. So we have all of those things. Okay. So if you know a pretty pink Prosecco, yes. If you know ahead of time that you're going to go to this party and you have not really a protein option, you're not really going to have a vegetable option. It's just not as common, right? Unless you come to my birthday party, I'm going to have your protein. I'm going to have your vegetables. I'm going to have your rice. I'm going to have your tortillas. We're probably going to have like a Mexican spread, but you can make it super healthy. But in general, we're talking about the pizza and the hot dog ones. If you know that you're going to that party and you're not going to have really access to protein or fruits and vegetables, and you're like, but I really need that. What you can do is before you go to the party, there is nothing wrong with this. Before you go to the party, eat as you normally would for breakfast, eat as you normally would for lunch, making sure you're getting your protein, your vegetables, and your fruits. And then if you're going to the party at night or mid-afternoon, whatever it is, and if you know that you're going to be hungry at the party, what you can do is take like a protein shake along, or maybe an apple, like something like that. So it's not uncommon for me if I know that I'm going to a party and I know that there's actually not really much going to be there that I want to eat because I don't want to feel sick. I will take a protein shake along and I will maybe eat an apple on the way. And so what that allows me to do is go to the party and I'm 100% okay saying, I don't really want to eat because I'm not really that hungry. It's okay to say that. You don't have to eat just because it's there. You really don't. There is nothing wrong with that. You get to decide, and you have to understand that you are in control. And you need to be, and if you're not in control, you need to be in control. So you get to decide. So a long time ago, I got to a place where I practiced it, where I had to get comfortable going to a place and saying, no, I'm not drinking, and no, I'm not eating dessert. And I don't care what anybody thinks, because that's my choice. So you get to do that too. Now, here's the other aspect of it. If you go to the party and you're like, okay, I know I don't want to have the hot dog. I know I don't want to have the pizza. You had your protein, maybe you had some veggies or an apple or something like that. But if you're like, really want a piece of the cake, then have a piece of the cake. And again, it's not a matter of cutting everything out. It's a matter of how much, what's the dose? And then you feeling like you are in control of making that decision and not allowing the peer pressure of other people to come in and say, you need to be doing this, you need to be eating this, and being able to say, no, thank you. Like, I really don't want to. And you don't have to explain yourself. So recap here. You want to eat breakfast as usual. So making sure you have your protein and you're satiated and all of that. Drink water as usual. Have lunch as usual, and treat whatever the dinner, if it's a dinner that you're going to for the party, treat that just as another meal and eat as if it's just another meal. It doesn't mean that you have to go crazy. It means none of that. You really don't. But it also means like we have to get to this place where we're like, where we go, okay, I can go to an event and I can go to a party, and it's not just about the food, and you make it about the people that are there. They make it about connection, and you can have food and drinks and all that, but it doesn't have to be the most important thing there, because really you're going there for the people, right? You're going there to celebrate someone if this is a birthday party. So it doesn't have to be only about the food. Like we have to, it's okay to be a foodie. Like if you're like, oh my gosh, I just really like food, but everything in balance, right? Same thing when you go on vacation. Here's what I teach my clients. If you go on vacation, make sure you set yourself up for success. So you want to think about your protein, you want to think about your fruits and your vegetables. And if you're going to a place where they have a refrigerator, then you can go there and say, okay, we're going to go to the grocery store and we're going to get some snacky things like fruits and vegetables, and you can travel with your protein powder. And now you have that taken care of. And when you do that, then you don't go throughout your day just kind of like grazing and figuring out like, I don't know what I'm going to eat. And then you end up going to lunch and you have, French fries and a grilled cheese or a burger. And then you go throughout the afternoon and maybe you get ice cream in the afternoon, and then you go out to dinner and then you have another heavy meal. Maybe it's like chicken Alfredo or whatever it is. That's really, really heavy. And so we're actually going to go to our last break here. But when we come back, I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I tell my clients to do on vacation and how that helps them stay on track, but also helps them enjoy their vacation. But when they come back from vacation, they feel empowered and they feel like they're in control because they understood and knew how to fuel and nourish their body in a way that allowed them to enjoy themselves and enjoy the vacation, enjoy food, but not come back and feel miserable and like they're starting from scratch. So we're going to our last break, but when we come back, I'm going to dive into that, give you some more tactical things that you can do, and start right away. If you're going on vacation next week, or if you have an event, these are things that you can do right away. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
We often get used to just feeling fine instead of reaching to feel excellent or even good. Wellness is about feeling good, and that is a journey of continually coming back to what is nourishing and healing for us. Your body is functional and ever-changing. like a pendulum swinging. We must learn how to move with our bodies. Tuning into I'm Not Fine with functional nutrition coach Lizzie Ens will provide you with simple but effective tools that you can use right away, so you can go from feeling just fine to feeling amazing. Listen for I'm Not Fine on Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is I'm Not Fine with Lizzie Ens. To participate in the program, join the live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also send an email to Lizzie at undietyourself.live. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. We are on the last stretch of this show today, and this has been really, really fun, and I hope that you guys can walk away with some really valuable tactical things that you can apply right away so that you can feel more equipped and stronger going through the summer and your vacation and all of that. Before I finish this out, next week, I'm going to be talking about how to manage your stress and use it to your benefit. And that one is going to be amazing because stress is not just a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. So you want to figure out how to manage it and use it to your advantage. So we're going to dive into that next week. Before we move on, just remember, you can go to lizzieens.com to grab a copy of my book, Escaping My Reflection, if you want to hear more about my story and really get to know me, because you really do get to know me in that book. And then if you are in a place where you just feel stuck and you're trapped and you're just like, I'm not getting any help from my doctors, or the dieting that I'm doing isn't helping me, and I just feel like I'm not going anywhere, and you need someone there to help you figure out what's going on, number one. And number two, just some guidance and coaching and accountability. I'm your girl. So grab the link in the show notes that is linked to my calendar. You can book a consultation with me. We can sit down on Zoom just like this and talk about what is going on, see how I can help you. Remember, I focus in on the hormones and the thyroid. And so I'm doing lab work for you when you work with me to really figure out like what is going on internal, what are the root causes of why things are going, where your inflammatory markers at. It's really, really quite amazing. So if this is you, then I want you to grab that link, book a call with me, and let's get you feeling better because you deserve it. I know that you deserve it, but you need to know that you deserve it too. So don't settle and don't think that this is as good as it can get. It can be better. So just know that. Okay, we're going to finish out this show today with some really cool tactical things that you can do when you go on vacation. And this can apply literally, like I said before, this can apply to any event, to travel, to weddings, like whatever the case may be. So I'm going to talk a little bit about vacation since it's summer and a lot of people are going on vacation in the summer, or at least in Arizona. In Arizona, a lot of people are like, I'm getting the heck out of the heat. So they go on vacation, they go somewhere else. So that's very, very common. I feel like on the East Coast or in the Midwest, like their vacation time is in the winter because they're like, we're getting out of the cold. So not uncommon there. So if you are planning on going on vacation, let's say in a week or so, and you're like, I don't want to lose the progress that I've made. So if you are on your healing journey and you're like stressing out about your vacation, I don't want you to stress out. I want you to think about, okay, how can I use this to my advantage? And one of the things that you want to think about is how you've always done vacation before and how did you feel? Did it set you back? Did it make you tired? Did you feel like you needed a week to recover when you came back? What did you do and how did you feel? That's what you kind of want to think about. And then you got to think about, okay, how do I need to do things differently this time? Because if you don't want to have that same experience, then you got to think about what are you going to do differently this time? Okay. So whenever my clients are getting ready to go on vacation and they're stressing out about it, I get on the phone with them and I say, listen, here's what we're going to do. So I tell them the first thing that I don't want them to do is to stress about it, because that's only going to make it worse, because stress equals inflammation. And then inflammation equals digestive issues, slows your digestion down. So we're not going to stress about it. But what we are going to do is put things in place that makes them feel equipped, makes them feel like they have a plan. Remember, order, structure, and discipline. Those are 3 things that I talk about. So if you go in with a plan, which is the order and structure around how you're going to go into vacation, now it makes you feel equipped. It makes you feel like you're in control. So some things that you want to travel with. First of all, if you are on any kind of supplement regimen, please don't go without your supplements. Make it happen, because you need it more than ever on vacation as you're traveling. And just because you're traveling doesn't mean that you don't need vitamins and minerals, right? So you are going to help prevent yourself from getting sick if you keep taking your supplements. So make sure you do that. Second, you can travel with a lot of things. So what you can do is travel with your protein. If you have a good protein powder that you love, makes you feel good, travel with a protein powder. You can take these little half Ziploc baggies and put a serving in each little baggie. And then you just take a little baggie out, put it in you can pack a blender bottle, put it in your blender, and you can either do water, or if you have a refrigerator in your room, then go get whatever milk that you want to put in. And now you're going to be getting, at least 20 grams of protein, and that could be your breakfast. So then the second piece of it is, if you have a refrigerator, and some things you don't need, like apples and bananas and those kinds of things, you don't really need a refrigerator for those. But if you have a refrigerator and there's a grocery store close by, please go to the grocery store once you get there and grab some fruits and vegetables. And you could get if you like crunchy things, instead of getting like bags of Doritos, you can get like a huge bag of popcorn that is, I know at Costco and at other places too, they have popcorn that's organic popcorn that is literally made with coconut oil and salt and organic popcorn. That's a crunchy snack. So you could have that. And then I also like to travel with protein bars. So I use Roar protein bars, RAWR. And you can go to my Instagram in the link there. The link with the discount code is in there, but these are super, super clean. There's literally, like, the reason they're called Roar is because they're raw. And so I have to store them in the refrigerator. However, you can travel with them. So traveling with those for an emergency breakfast or snack, there's like 200 to 300 calories in a bar, and you get 20 grams of protein. Traveling with something like that. You can also travel with nuts and seeds. So if you want crunchy things like that, travel with those things. So it's not a matter of like not having snacks around and not having, certain foods, but it's a matter of swapping, right? So whatever you typically do that, you're like, I want to snack on bags of chips, or I want to eat lots and lots of ice cream and those kinds of things. Swap it to something different. And here's a tip. If you are fueling and nourishing your body with protein and you're giving it what it needs, you're not going to be as hungry for all the things. So I hope this was really, really helpful for you guys, and you can take these tools and tactics and apply them to your life right away. That concludes the show for today. Next week, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about how to manage stress and utilize it to your benefit. So make sure you come, and we'll see you guys then.
Thank you for listening to the I'm Not Fine show. Lizzie Ens returns Fridays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 12 p.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, and 10 a.m. Pacific Time on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. Until then, have the best week of your life by making choices that take you from feeling fine to feeling amazing.